Hello everyone, I hope you all are well. Stay safe, stay at home. Okay, today we will be studying about food we eat. This is the third chapter of your environmental science. What do you mean by food we eat? Food we eat means whatever we eat. We eat the food we eat every day. So in this chapter we will be studying about how this food is where do we get this food, who makes it, and how it has changed over the time period, and what are the varieties and how people of different places eat different kind of food, and all about food we'll be seeing in this chapter. Let's look at the chapter. Small farmers. Farmers which have small plot of land are called small farmers. They need to borrow money from money lenders to purchase things like agricultural implements, seed, fertilizers, and pesticides. They are able to grow just enough to feed their family. They are also called subsistence farmers. They are dependent on the rain to water the crops. Okay, so small farmers. The small farmers are the farmers who have a small plot of land, and most of the Indians, if you go to the Indian villages, you'll find a lot of small farmers because they have a very small plot of land, and to buy seeds, pesticides, fertilizers, they have to borrow money from either the bank or from the money lenders. And once the food crop is grown, once it is harvested, they have only enough just to feed their family. They don't have enough to sell or like that. So these kind of farmers are called small farmers. The other name for them is also called subsistence farmer. And for watering the crops, they depend on the rain. So if the rain is there, then the crops are good. If there is no rain, then the crops are not good. And even if there is too much rain, it affects their crops. Next, commercial farmers. Commercial farmers own a large plot of land. They grow crops to sell in the market. They use modern machines, irrigation facilities, fertilizers, and pesticides. So, commercial farmers are the farmers who cultivate crops to sell them. They cultivate crops to sell them in the market so that people who don't do farming can eat. And these commercial farmers, they have large plot of land, they have very big lands, and they use modern machines like tractors to plow the land. Then they use other machines to sow the seed, other machines to spread the fertilizers and spray pesticides. And they have enough money to grow crops, and once the crop is grown, they sell it in the market. So these type of farmers are called commercial farmers. Dairy farmers, the farmers who rear cows, buffaloes, and sell milk and milk products are called dairy farmers. So dairy farmers are the farmers who are rearing cow and buffalo. They have many cow and buffalo in big farms, and they rear the milk from them, and they sell the milk and other milk products. So they are called dairy farmers. Farmers who grow crop as well as rear animals are called mixed farmer. But if you go to some villages, you will see that they use the animals like cows and buffaloes to plow the field, as well as they use the milk of the cow for to sell and to provide milk to other people. So these kind of farmers are called mixed farmers. Now we'll look at seeds. So to grow crops, we need seeds. So that is why seeds is a very important role. It plays a very important role in this chapter. Farmers get seeds from the seed market. Farmers should use good quality hybrid seeds to ensure higher yield of crops. Now, without seeds, we won't have crops. So, farmers should make sure that when they are buying seeds, they get good quality and hybrid seeds, because if you get good quality and hybrid seeds, then the crops will have lot of yield. Yield means more, plenty of crops will be there. So when the farmers have to buy the seeds, they have to always go for the best and the hybrid seeds in order to get more crops. Now we just saw it seeds. Now just because we have a seed doesn't mean that we are going to get crops, but we need to plant the seed in the field. So now we'll be looking at some of the farm machineries which we use to plow the fields or and plow the field and then cut the crops and helping in sowing the pesticides and everything. So we'll be looking at few of the farm machineries. Nowadays, modern farm machinery like tractors, seed sowers, sprayers, harvesters, combine and threshers are used by commercial farmers. They help the farmers to do their work easily. So nowadays, modern farmers are using many farm machinery like tractors, seed sowers, sprayers, harvesters. So tractors are for plowing the field, seed sowers help in sowing the seed, sprayers help in spraying pesticides and spraying even fertilizers. Harvesters are used for cutting the crops, and threshers are used to remove the grains from the hay. So these are the type of machineries these days the commercial farmers use. As you can see a tractor in the picture, and on the right side of the picture you can see a seed sower. So this machine sows seed in the field. If you look in this picture, there is a harvester combine. So this cuts the crop, and as you can see, it is after cutting, it is putting all the crops on the truck. And on the right, you can see multi-crop thresher. So once the crops are cut, it is put into this machine, and this machine it threshes the crops. So it removes the seed or the rice from the hay. Now, in order to get more crops, we need irrigation also. The plants need water. So some places the lands are very far away from water. So here we'll be seeing how different kind of farmers irrigate water for their crops. Farmers should have a good system of irrigation to water the crops as and when required, so that they do not depend on rain for water. The artificial way of spraying water to the plants is called irrigation. So what is irrigation? Basically, irrigation is, you can see on the left side picture there is a water source like a canal, and on the right you can see a field. So irrigation is how to bring this water to the field in the best manner. So how can we bring this water to the field? That is irrigation, because these crops needs water whenever required. So irrigation is basically how it's an artificial way of supplying water to the plants. It's called irrigation. Now, as you can see in the picture, here there is a well with a pump which is pumping the water from the well and pouring the water in the tank, and from the tank you can see that water is going into the field. And here you can see on the right side pictures, there is a field and there are small ditches or small channels dug into the field so that water can go to every plant. Some farmers irrigate their land from tube wells. They do not have to rely on rain. The tube wells pump water up from under the ground. Then the farmers dig channels to make sure that the water reaches all parts of the field. Some farmers irrigate their land with water from tanks, open wells, canals, or water bodies like lake and ponds. They dig channels from the canal or lake to the field. So here you can see there is a tube well, how they're getting the water out from the well using a pump, and then the water is sent to the field. And once it goes to a field, the water will not spread on its own. So they have to even dig small channels so that the water will go properly. It will spread all throughout the field. Here you can see a pump. So what they're doing, irrigating from a pond. There is a pond and there is a pipe, and then This machine is pumping the water out from the pond and the water is sent to the fields around the pond. Fertilizers. Fertilizers are substances that increase the yield of crops. Most plants need manure from animal dung. These are the best fertilizers because they are natural. So, fertilizers are basically chemical substances. They're made up of chemicals which help the crops to grow more and to give more yield. And even the land needs manure is basically the very natural. It is made up of animal wastes and household waste also. So manure is also a very important role which plays, because it is natural, it helps the field much more. And fertilizers and manures, they both play a big role in the yield of crops. Pesticides. Pesticides are chemicals sprayed on the plants to protect them from pests, insects, etc. So now, once the crop is grown, once they grow big, many types of pests come into the field, like rats, insects. They eat the crops, and because of that, it affects the crop. So, in order to stop these insects and rats and mice from coming to the field and eating the crops, the farmers have to use pesticides. These pesticides, they spray it on the crop so that the crop is safe from insects and mice and rats. Government helps the farmer. So in every country, the government helps the farmers so that the farmers can cultivate the land without any much problem, and so that they can sell their products properly. So there are, in every country, the government does. So as well as in India, the same thing, government helps the farmer in different ways. So here we'll be seeing how the government helps the farmers. Governments provide help to the farmers in the following ways: increase agricultural loan to the farmers at low rate of interest. So when these farmers need loan or they need money from the bank, now in order to repay the loan, there is an they have to pay interest. So this interest is very low compared to other loans. When a farmer takes a loan for crops, the interest he should pay is very little. It helps the farmer to buy their own land, and with this money, it helps the farmer so that they can buy their own land. It ensures the good farmers good price for their produce. Now once the farmer cultivates and harvests the crop, now he has to sell it. So when times come for selling, the government makes sure that the rice or the wheat or whatever the farmer is selling, he is selling it at a good price, and the people buying from him are not cheating him, so that there is a fixed price for it, so that the farmer can earn money by even selling crop. It provides high quality seed, fertilizers and pesticides at subsidized rates. So and even the seeds, hybrid seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, these things are provided to the farmers at a very low rate so that they can afford them. Food habits. People in different parts of our country and the world eat different kinds of food. Food habits of people depend upon the region where they stay, availability of food types, beliefs, customs, religion, and culture. Now, different part of and now if you look at the food, if you go to different parts of India, you see that people in different parts of India eat different kind of food. So this the type of food which we eat depends on the places. So it depends on few things. Here's given: region where they stay. Region where they stay means when one person stays in one place, in that particular place the food is different, and once you go to a different country or a different part of India, even you see there is a different kind of food there. As if you go to Tamil Nadu or to the southern part of India, you see a lot of idli, dosa and all. But once you come to northern part of India, you see a lot of chapati, roti and many other different kinds. So it's very different. And even it depends on the availability of the food. So if the food is available there, then they eat. If it's not available, you cannot eat. So the food habits depends on even the availability of the food. And then there are other things like beliefs, custom, religion and culture. Those are not so important, but they play an important role, because depends on the religion or the culture, people tend to prefer different kinds of food. Now, the people of Rajasthan eat dal bati churma and bajre ki roti. So, if you look at the people of Rajasthan, they eat dal bati churma. So, you can see there is a dal in a small bowl in the picture. You can see the bajre ki roti, you can see, and you can see that there's a churma laddu is there on the plate. So, people of Rajasthan eat these kind of foods. The people of Punjab love to eat makke ki roti and sarson ka saag. So, when you go to Punjab, which is a different part of India, you see they eat a different kind of roti. That is makke ki roti, and other is sarson ka saag. It's a saag. It's like a greens. Yes. So, as you can see, in Rajasthan and Punjab, they are in the same country, but they are two different parts, and they have different kinds of food. The people of West Bengal eat rice with fish curry. The people of Kolkata, Bengal eat rasgulla and sandesh. So even in West Bengal, here we prefer to eat rice and fish curry and sweets. So that's what the food differs with different places. As you go to different place, you see different kind of food. Changing food habits. Now these food habits, they have changed. They have been changing as we have been growing up, as we have been modernizing. So we'll look into them. The food habits are changing because there is so much variety in food items. Children and even adults love to eat pizza, burger, momos, and more of other junk food items. So these days we have many types of fast foods. Like as you can see in the picture, we have pizza, we have burger, we have french fries, we have momos, we have nachos, we have fried chicken, and we have so many different kinds of food here. So as the world is modernizing, we are seeing a different kind of food. So and these foods are really, they taste really good, and that's why people love to eat them. And as you see the world modernizing, people have been changing their food habits. They prefer fast food over the very traditional foods. When your grandparents were of your age, there was not much variety in food. So when our grandparents, they were like kids back then, there are not so many varieties, but today we have so many varieties. That is why the food habits of people is changing. Food habits have changed because of the following reasons. So here are some of the reasons why the food habits have been changing. New variety of crops have been introduced with the advantage of science and technology. Okay, so new variety of crops have been introduced. So you can see new variety of crops. There is hybrid crops, and there is so new type with the advancement of science and technology. Because of science and technology, we are able to see better crops. We have access to different kind of perishable food items throughout the year due to large cold storage facilities. Now there are some kind of food which are not available all around the year, but we get them because by storing them is because of the science and technology. As you can see in this picture, here the rice is stored in granaries so that we can get it all throughout the year. You can see here potato in this picture. The potato is stored in cold storage so that it is available throughout the year. Though potato is cultivated only once in a year, but it is stored all throughout the year so that it is available to every parts of the world throughout the year. Large variety of produced food is available in the market due to the growth of food processing industries. Now, because of this food processing industries, there are many industries which are doing research into many kind of food, and because of this, we have a large variety of foods. And because of this, people tend to eat fast food, like I just said earlier, because those are the newer variety and they taste better. Packed food is easily available and used by many people. And food those are packed is available easily. Like packed food is like Maggie or many other things. There are many other types of packed food which is available all the time and easy to prepare also. It doesn't take much time. So people love to eat all those. People love to eat ready-made food. And as I said about Maggie, people like to eat ready-made food which is ready on the go. So like you take biscuits, snacks and all, so you just take them and just tear the packet and you just eat few of them because it's easy, like it's quickly made, it's already done for us, we just have to eat it. So these are the few reasons why the Food habits of people have been changing as we have been modernizing. Keep food safe. So this food which you eat, it should be kept properly. So here are the few ways we'll look at how to keep our food safe. It is important to maintain cleanliness to keep food safe. So in order to store food, we have to make sure that everything around the food is clean, because we cannot store food in a dirty place. We have to store food in a clean place. So we should make sure that it is clean wherever we are storing the food. The utensils in which food is stored or prepared should be cleaned. So in whatever container we are storing the food, maybe it might be a bottle, it might be a pan, or it might be a bowl or anything, before we put the food there, we should always make sure that it is clean, so that there will not be any germs on it and any dirt on it which will make the food go bad. The person handling food should always wash his or her hands with soap and water to keep the food always covered. So the person who is handling the food, they should make sure their hands are washed always, so that the food does not get germs and bacteria and other kind of things. It doesn't reaches the food which will spoil the food. So the people should always wash their hands before handling foods, and the food should be covered properly. If you're leaving the food out, it should be covered so that nothing, no dust or no unwanted insects will fall on the food. Cook the food properly till you kill all the germs. So we eat lot of meat these days. We have chicken, we have mutton, we have fish. So these kind of food which are raw meat, we should always make sure that they are cleaned properly first. Then once we cook them, we should cook them properly, because if you don't cook them properly, the germs or bacteria in the meat will not be dead, and it will be harmful to our body. So we should always make sure the meat is cooked properly. Fruits and vegetables can be eaten raw. These should be washed well before eating. Avoid eating stale food. So fruits is something we can just take and we can just eat without cooking or any headache. But one thing we should make sure is that the fruits we eat are stored with the help of chemicals, or many other pesticides are used, many fertilizers are used, many kind of chemicals are used to protect the fruit from insects. So before we eat a fruit, make sure you wash it in the water very properly, because it should be washed properly, because the fruit might still contain that pesticides or those chemicals on it, which if we don't wash properly and if we eat the fruit, those chemicals will be harmful to our body. So while eating fruits, should always make sure that it is washed properly, and do not eat and avoid eating stale food. Don't eat the food which is bad or which is already too, we have been storing it for too many days. So always make sure you're eating fresh food. Now, food storage. Now, why do we need food storage? We need to store food because so that it is available for further use, so that we can use it in times when their food is not available. Now, you might be wondering, why will there be why will there be a situation where we might not have sufficient food? Yes, there are many situations. So we'll look into it now. Food storage. There are times when farmers are not able to grow enough food crops. Crops fail either because of lack of adequate rainfall or due to flood. See, there are times when farmers are not able to grow enough crops. So there might be a situation where farmers are not able to grow crops. It might be because of no rain or no water, or it might be some of the reason why they are not able to grow crops. So it can be a flood, it can be a tsunami, and it can be a drought. So because of this, people cannot cultivate crops, and because they cannot cultivate, so there is no produce, and because there is no produce, there will be shortage, and because of this shortage, we need to store food. So as you can see, lack of adequate rain or due to floods. So when there is no sufficient rain, there is a drought. You can see in the left picture how the ground has dried completely, and it has is having cracks. So it basically is because of drought, because no rain. And on the right picture you can see a flood. The houses are covered in flood, the fields are covered in flood. So when there is flood, they are not able to cultivate crops. So because they're not able to cultivate, there is no harvest, there is no produce, and there is food shortage. And because of this shortage, we need to make sure that we store enough food for these times. As you can see in the left picture, there is a big flood is because of the tsunami. As you can see, the lot of destruction, a car thrown here, a building broken. On the right picture, you can see it's because of an earthquake. So at times like this, when there are more people and less food price hike, and poor have to suffer because they cannot afford the food prices. When there is extreme shortage of food, it is called famine. It occurs due to destruction of crops because of natural calamities like flood, earthquake, cyclone, and tsunami. So like these times when there is natural calamity means any disaster happening because of nature. It can be a flood, it can be a tsunami, it can be a drought, it can be earthquake, anything. Now when these happens, the there is food shortage, and because of this food shortage, the price of the food increases, and because of the price increase, the poor people are not able to afford food and they suffer a lot. And in this and the time when there is less food, that time it's called famine. It's called famine. The extreme shortage of food, it is called famine. It occurs because of destruction of crops. The crops are destroyed and because of natural calamities. There are also times when food shortage is created artificially. This happens when food is produced but is not released in the market to keep the price high. Traders board the food grains and make money by selling it at substantial higher rate. So sometimes it looks like there is a shortage, but it's not shortage. Actually, there is enough produce, but they store it and they keep it in order to keep the price high. This happens due to many other reasons. So they keep the price high and they do not release the crops. Those time that is called artificially they create food shortage, and that happens it's because of the economy or many other reasons. That happens because when the country deems fit. So here in this chapter we have learnt about farmers, and how these farmers, what are the type of farmers, how they are cultivating crops, and what all type of machines they're using to cultivate crops, and then how they're using, what kind of chemicals they're using to make the crops much more yield, and then they're using pesticides to protect the crop. Then we saw about the different types of food in different places. Then we saw about how they're storing the food, and then we saw about why we need to store food and why shortage creates. So in this chapter has come to an end, and I hope you all understood. If you all have any doubts, you can ask in the WhatsApp group, and thank you everyone.